stuff going on. And after you see what I'm going to show you tonight, what Trump's up to, you better believe it's always been about the kids. It's always been about saving our future and future generations. But first, before we get into that today, Trump signed several executive orders today. We're going to cover that. I'm going to show you that. Alex Jones had some very interesting news. We're going to cover that and everything else going on today because, as always, it's busy in Trump world. So let's say hey to everybody, and then we're going to get started. I'm sorry it's late. It's been one of those days, but you guys know by now. You guys know I just show up. I just come on whenever the spirit moves me. I'll be on. But we got lots to talk about tonight, as usual. And also, all three of the stocks were falling, or I've been falling. DJT, Finger, and G-Bucks all had great days today. So that's also very exciting. Go watch last night's live if you want the stock talk. Nothing has changed since last night, but very exciting stuff coming in the stock market, in the meme stock world. So as I believe it, GameStop too, just got great earnings. Anyways, what's up, US1 Tahoe, your numero uno tonight? Big B, Wago Wecko. What's up, Kessink, Zach Butterfield, MM, Hobbs, Dave Munns. Hit the like and subscribe button. Dave Munns, you are first. Well done on the hitting that like. Vince Felice, I'm getting too big. That's hilarious. The one, what to do? Darren Collins, T, Bowtie Alex, Drew Savala, Danny Gigal, Apollyon. Leave after the jingle? You just come for the jingle and then you don't mingle? What's up, man? Damn it, Sean, Candace Morrison, Troy, man, Patrice, Lyrical, Kim Wiley, good day to you. Alan Krentz, lock up. Hanging out in Hawaii. Good stuff. Norden, man. Richie Rich. Marco Sanchez from Thailand. What time is it in Thailand? Sooner, man. I saw that hailstorm, bro. I have friends in Kerrville who they lost their windows, their cars completely blown out. Hail this big. It's insane. It's insane. Robert Armstrong, MRTKO. What's going on? Just my Gary Douche. Yahoo! A lot done for 63 days. So much excitement. I don't know about the pyramid stuff. It hasn't even been, nothing's been corroborated yet. So now what? Phil Zill, what's up? John Crisson, hello. From the casino, what are you playing tonight? Crazy Mouse. Good to see you. It's been a bit. Mark R. Hobbs. Yeah, Kalen always gets it. He doesn't like Kalen, you can tell. Brett Montgomery, what's up, my moderator? He says, welcome, hit the like and subscribe. Thank you very much for the support, everybody. Marco Sanchez, 10 a.m. So you're 11 hours ahead of us. Wild. Sun rises in the east. It sure do. All right, guys. This is, today, this came out. And I'm going to start here, and I'm going to go into everything else. But we're going to start. This is a big deal. Trump today. Well, let me play this clip before I talk about it.
I just want to follow up on that. If Planned Parenthood is defunded, would you look into the harvesting of baby organs that they've done throughout the years? And maybe go after some criminal prosecution on that?
Well, I think you're talking about a subject that is a heated subject, and we'll look into it. We're going to look into everything, but that's certainly a subject that's been debated for a long time, and we will look into it, yeah.
Mr. President, I just want to follow up.
That is Trump.
If Planned Parenthood
talking about responding to looking into criminal action against Planned Parenthood. Why? Because those who know, in fact, James O'Keefe exposed this way back, I believe it was 2011, where they admitted on video to him and his undercover crew in California that they sell the baby parts. You want to know why they push abortion so hard? Look no further. This is why. This is what the Democratic Party, the elites are into, and it's finally coming out. We're going to investigate. Listen, forever, obviously we've talked about this before. This is one of those horrific things that goes back to the beginning of time, but the abuse of children. And we saw under the Biden administration, this seriously ramp up with 300,000 plus children missing across the border, all the terrible stories coming out. Trump in his first term went after trafficking more than any other president in recent history, and they opened all that back up under Biden. Trump's back now, and now it's time to get serious. It's time to shut it all down. If you have been in this community for a long time doing the research, you know that one of the main things that's been going on and that has been being fought against by many of us trying to get the awareness out is the abuse and trafficking of the kids, and abortion is a major, major part of that. It is an industry. These children's parts being sold for all kinds of crazy reasons. And Trump announced today that we're finally going to get governmental investigations into this. The DOJ is very busy. They've been announcing stuff left and right, and it is very exciting for those of us who've been crying out for justice, praying for justice for years and years and years. And by the way, when James O'Keefe and them busted that Planned Parenthood, got them on tape admitting to selling baby parts, guess what happened? Kamala Harris, Attorney General of California, didn't go after the Planned Parenthood that admitted on tape to selling baby parts. No, she went after the people who exposed it. Yeah, that Kamala Harris that almost became president. Can you imagine the horrors that would have happened had she actually won? I got more on that later as well tonight. But along with this, and I could tell, sometimes you can just tell there's a theme going on in the day. And Alex Jones posted this today, and it's a longer video than I'd usually play. It's 4 minutes, but I'm going to play the whole thing because this is Alex, and Alex is almost always right about this stuff. And he got some tips on what's going down with the Epstein stuff. And I want you all to hear it. For one reason, I know a lot of you guys have been frustrated with the Epstein stuff. For another, it's because I believe more justice is coming. And this is all tied together. And so when I see this thing with Trump, when I see this coming out with Alex, I can tell there's a theme going on. And the theme is justice to those who would abuse the innocent. So I'm going to play this by Alex.
I am one of the first prominent people to expose Epstein more than 15 years ago. I've forgotten more about the case than most FBI agents know. It's just a fact. And I can tell you that Pam Bondi and Kash Patel are 100% real. Trump's 100% real. They gave them old files a month ago to try to embarrass everybody. And then she raided the New York offices when they wouldn't turn them over. And they ordered the people to resign who were involved in it. This is incredible. Now, today I had Kyle Seraphin, the top, most prolific FBI whistleblower ever, and he exposed so much, the targeting of Catholics and conservatives, the FBI going after people at school boards in Virginia that didn't like their kids being raped by transgenders, and the cover-up. He broke so much after that. He first went to Congress with that, then they went after him, so went public and everything else. He showed me the messages from the D.C. headquarters. He talked about it on air, but he let me see it all about their secret operations against me. That was a side issue. I didn't even care about that today. I said, let's move on from that because we got to bring down the mothership or we're all screwed. And he showed me all the messages, high level, that 14,000 plus terabytes, videos, all of it, the hundreds of previously unidentified child victims of the CIA, Mossad, MI6 pedophile honeypot. He wouldn't say this on air, but the point is sources can get involved, but there's the DC's investigating what it thinks is key, but it's just giving it to the field offices. Total transparency. They never do that. They're pumping it out across the country to FBI field offices saying, here's the whole file. Any folks volunteer, because they make you volunteer to look at this. This is child porn. This is kids getting raped. This is serious crimes. And they're just turning them loose. And he showed me the stuff in D.C., high level. He showed me people he knows in field offices going, holy shit, they just gave us oh my God. And they've got to go in the secure, area to look at it. They're asking who's going to volunteer to go look at this stuff. This is, because let me tell you something. I've never seen child porn. I'm blessed, but just reading transcripts of it in federal cases with some of this stuff, raping kids, murdering them, and snuff films. This is not for the faint of heart. And that's in the Sound of Freedom film. Is based on true story. Like, most people have to quit in a few months. I mean, this is like, I've only seen a few car wrecks with dead people and once dead kids, and I still have nightmares. I mean, I'm a tough guy, but not seeing kids, arms chopped off, blood spraying. I mean, I can't handle it. So these people are beyond tough that can do this. And Trump's just putting it all out. This is just unbelievable. And today he just cut all the funding to Planned Parenthood and sent in federal orders to shut down all the election fraud and just and declassified Crossfire Hurricane that'll burn all the criminals, opening the way for total prosecution. I mean, it just goes on and on. Federal judges are ruling Doge is right. It was unconstitutional to block it. I mean, it's on, baby. They tried to kill Trump. He's already a great guy, but he's going for broke. And I found out from inside sources he was just being nice to King of England. Oh, yeah, sure, we'll join. We'll talk about your Commonwealth. That's what he does. So I was still worried about it, but just bam. I mean, this is awesome. Thank you, God. Thank you, all the listeners that God worked through that we're still at this point. This is so historic. Thank you for your support. Oh, my God, we just learned of a whole other dirty trick to try to shut us down. I'm not letting me talk about it. I got to go meet with lawyers right now. With the whole DOJ and that, because they haven't got rid of all the bad DOJ guys, but we're barely hanging on. InfoWars, please support our backup system at Real Alex Jones, the shopping cart where you can get the supplements, the shirts, the daggers, stuff that he was.
All right, so I played that because again, Alex isn't perfect. Nobody is, but the man has been on it about all of this stuff, which is the Epstein stuff. He was the first one to call it out. If he's been following anything, he's had a pulse on all of this. And he says 14 terabytes of abuse of children and giving it to local FBI. And then he said something that I thought was very important. He said, Bondi and Patel, you can trust. They are legit. And then he said all the stuff about Trump. And I'm telling you guys, I don't talk about it that much. I usually stick to the more political stuff that's obvious, the more like conservative, just we talk policy, we talk the reasons like I really support Trump. But if you want to get down to the most like base level, it's the defeating this deep state that not only was trying to enslave all of us, but also just is doing that most horrible stuff to children. And there's so much evidence of it, and everybody wants to say it's just hiding behind, it's all conspiracy, and it's not. It just keeps coming out, but more of this is going to be coming out in front of everybody's eyes soon. And the question is like, you slow roll it so people can understand it. And then just the other day we had, I think this was yesterday, Justin Bieber, talking about the Diddy stuff and all the abuse there in the entertainment industry. He posts this. He says this cryptic Instagram post to his almost 300 million followers. And then it shows a baby with shipping containers and then a picture of himself. And so here's the baby with shipping containers. All right. This is how they bring the kids in. All right. And so they, and I don't, I'm not going to go into details because I still stream on YouTube. Rumble one day, I'll be on the free speech platform, but it's going to be a transition. And so, but that's where a lot of them brought in. And then he showed a picture of himself young. His mom gave him over to the entertainment world. I think he was 12 or 13 years old, and just was, when he had this beautiful voice, he'd been on YouTube, and she just basically, the story is she handed him over to Diddy and just let him do whatever. And I don't even know if she knew it all, but she didn't care. She was just like, make him famous, do whatever. And Bieber, if he's been in and out of just like, seems really, he's doing okay. Then he spirals a little bit, and it's off and on, but this kid has been crazy abused, and it's everywhere. I mean, it's all in the darkest places most people don't want to know about. Most people want to think it's not going on. We all want to go about our days. Trust me, I get it. And that's why I don't go much into the deeper stuff. That's for you to do. I've researched it, and it's not stuff I want to talk about. But Trump is making this all happen. And so just again, I was so encouraged today when I saw this. I hate Planned Parenthood with every fiber of my body. It was created by Margaret Sanger in the 1920s as a way to basically depopulate she wanted to basically purge the world of minorities, especially Black people, and she wanted to get rid of people with special needs, stuff like that. This was a big thing. This wasn't just happening in Germany. The German scientists under Hitler, who were all about purging, just genocide, all that, just ethnic cleansing, all of that. A lot of those scientists came over to America, and American scientists were interested in it. And in fact, you can read some very disturbing paper articles, magazine articles from the 1920s and 1930s, where this is being discussed seriously. All of this stuff before it went to war, before Hitler rose to power, and then it all blew up. This was actually something that the elites in our country were debating the merits of. And Margaret Sanger was a big part of that. She was a racist, atheist, just a terrible, horrible human being. And Planned Parenthood is her baby. It's her creation. And you wonder why, even today, the success of Planned Parenthood is that 41 million babies at least have been aborted since Roe v. Wade. We've had aborts the most children, the Black community. They abort more children than anybody else, and it's not even close. They're cleansing themselves, ethnic cleansing themselves, and they don't even know it because they've bought into the liberal party. So many of them, it's just insane. It's insane when you actually look into this stuff, how sick it is. At this point, we barely have any. There's almost no kids anymore with Down syndrome because they're all being aborted. It's a sick thing. And meanwhile, we can't even produce enough children to keep up with our population rate. So Planned Parenthood, as far as I'm concerned, all these can burn in hell. And I hope he investigates them, defunds them, and all the empty buildings just become a giant bonfire someday. That's what I hope happens to Planned Parenthood as an organization. It is one of the sickest things ever. And so the fact that Trump came out and said this today just made me think, okay, more's coming. More's coming. And if you noticed, things are starting to ramp up. The Democrats are finally finding ways to attack the Trump administration with this stupid signal thing that's been going on, which is quickly falling apart for them. It's not sticking, but they're trying because Trump's ramping up stuff. The DOJ is finally getting their footing. Kash Patel announced the other day, they've already, in just his first month being there, they've already apprehended all of the FBI's top 10 most wanted in the United States in just his first month. The Biden administration didn't catch one of them in 4 years, and they've caught all 10. What were they doing? There was no longer justice in our nation under the Biden administration. They wanted chaos. They wanted us to fall apart as a nation. And what they wanted, they used the DOJ, the FBI, they used it as an opportunity to just get their political means done. And so we finally have justice back on our side. And I think the reason it's taken them this long to really ramp stuff up is because the first month was all just purging. It was all purging, cleaning stuff up, and now they're getting to work. Pam Bondi announced they're apprehending the Tesla people. These people, because of domestic terrorism, they're getting 20%, or not 20%. They're getting a minimum of 20-year sentences. So justice is ramping up fast, which is very, very exciting. And if you just want to know, like what could have been coming for us, we got this clip today. This is Cori Bush, who we exposed her husband the other day for getting busted. And she's talking to one of the other crazy, I think this is Jamal Bowman. Yeah. And listen to what they were planning on doing should Kamal have gotten in.
Here that there were going to be two separate bills, and we had already had those conversations. But when it was clear remember the investment kept going down, down, down. And we were like, no, because we need this investment. We need, like you said, the money. That was more money for lead pipes than what we had.
It was 3.9 trillion. Did it start at 3.9 and go down, or did it?
We were at, I thought we were at 10, and then it went down to 6, and then down to 3, then it went down to 1.7, I believe. So it's here that there were going to be
a $10 trillion climate bill had been in the plans with Kamala if she'd won. And you know what that means? That means they would have passed something that, I think we can all see at this point, they were planning an economic collapse. Well, if they had passed this with an economic collapse, I guarantee you in this, climate change would have been their way of taking everything over. Because with climate change, they can stop all of you. They could have legally taken away our energy, our gas, our electricity. They could have changed all that. And if you control the energy, you control the people. You just do. They would have taken that. And then the $10 trillion would have assured that inflation would have soared. They would have taken what was wrong with our economy and made it completely unlivable for us. And then with that, they would have expanded the government exponentially, and we all would have been just stuck. We would have guess what? Carbon footprint, no food, social credit scores. This probably all would have been in here. 10 trillion is insane. Biden's biggest bill was 1.9 trillion. This is 5 times that. So you put that together. That's what one of the awful, crazy things we avoided by getting Trump back in. So already, we've closed the border. That would have ramped back up. They would have kept invading us. The FBI would have been politically persecuting everybody again. All this crime would have still been going on. All the horrific stuff with the children I just talked about to start the show. Then you have an economic crash, a $10 trillion climate bill. Guys, God literally saved us. It's not even a question. I don't think it can be debated at this point. I think anybody who believes otherwise is just not paying attention or is just completely taken over by leftist Kool-Aid, by, I'll say it, communist Kool-Aid, because the left is not the left anymore. They're not the regular Democrats. So we have all this going on. And meanwhile, Trump today just had a massive day. The Planned Parenthood thing is just one part. He did all kinds of other bills, including putting an end to shut down sanctuary cities, which is awesome. But he did this, and this, my friends, is the biggest one. So I'm going to just go ahead and play this clip.
Lastly, sir, we have an executive order for your attention on the very important subject of election integrity. We believe that this executive order is the farthest reaching executive action taken in the history of the Republic to secure our elections among numerous.
Did you guys hear that? This is the biggest electoral action ever taken in the history of our Republic regarding elections.
Numerous other aspects of this executive order. This is going to cut down on illegal immigrants on the voter rolls, ensure that the Department of Homeland Security and the data that they have available is being fully weaponized to ensure that illegal immigrants aren't voting. This will include a citizenship question on the federal voting form for the first time. This executive order instructs the EAC to cut federal funding to states that don't take reasonable steps to secure their election. This calls on the Department of Justice to vigorously prosecute election crimes, particularly in states that we don't believe are in compliance with federal law around election integrity. I could go on and on for a while, sir, but compliance with National Election Day rules, cracking down and investigating and prosecuting foreign interference in our elections, revoking President Biden's Executive Order 14019, which essentially weaponized government to corrupt and pollute our election process. There's a lot in here, but we believe that these are very important steps that we need to be taking as an administration at your direction to ensure that our elections are as secure as they possibly can be.
Okay, you all understand that? Yes. Election fraud, you heard the term. We'll end it, hopefully. least will go a long way toward ending it. There are other steps that we will be taking in the coming weeks, and we think we'll be able to end up getting fair elections. Perhaps some people think I shouldn't be complaining because we won in a landslide, but we got to straighten out our election. This country is so sick because of the election, the fake elections and the bad elections, and we're going to straighten it out one way or the other.
I mean, this is huge.
And it's an honor to sign
This is
this one.
absolutely huge.
To sign all of them, but to sign this one is a great honor.
Love it. Just leave it there. All right. So, I mean, this is massive. If you didn't hear what's in this executive order is legally. So remember, this is not law. It hasn't been passed by Congress. So it cannot be bound long term. All right. That's something Congress has got to do. But what this does, this shores up the midterms in 2 years, and it shores up the 2028 election, even if Congress doesn't pass it. Now, there's going to be some challenges, this, blah, 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 all that. And maybe some of this gets struck down. But what it tells me is that no matter what, they are going to have the DOJ breathing down the necks of everywhere elections are held, especially in the rigged states. And they are going to be, this is going to change our elections, even this. So if Congress law could get passed and that changes elections 100% and fixes them 100%, this could fix them at least 70% by itself with just a stroke of a pen, as long as this executive order is in action. So this is massive. And what he just signed to enforce is proof of U.S. citizenship on voter registration forms. That means the registration forms are going to get purged. Democrats are already bleeding like crazy on registrations. Imagine what happens when this goes into effect. Cut funding to the states that don't secure elections. So to all the blue states that are not securing their elections, and then some of the swing states like Georgia did in 2020, no funding. Well, without funding, it makes it much, much harder to cheat. It makes it much harder to do automatic registration, to send out the mail-in ballots ahead of time, to ballot harvest. All of that money dries up. A lot of that was federal funds being used. Vigorously prosecute election crimes. So now with this people in action, anybody involved in this is going to think twice about becoming a part of cheating. Take action against states who count ballots received after election day. Take action against states. So Trump, I mean, that's a big one. Think twice. Prosecute foreign interference. So they'll be watching for that. And then revokes Biden's executive order that turned federal agencies into Democrat voter turnout centers. That is one of the craziest executive orders that Biden passed regarding elections. Think about this, guys. All of this stuff was in place. None of this was being enforced against, and we still won massively in 2024. All 7 swing states, the popular vote. I mean, Trump won massively, and that's without any of this enforced. Now, think about what happens if Congress gets passed voter ID everywhere. I mean, that takes it up another notch. And we get all this done, bans ballot harvesting, all that stuff, makes Election Day a national holiday. We could see an election in 2028 where J.D. Vance wins with 60%. I'm not even joking. It could be that massive. That's how the Democrats couldn't even win with all of this in their favor. Think about that for a moment, and think about our country and where it's headed and how fast this can change everything. It's insane. And I love that Trump's doing this. He's slowly getting everything done. And I know, like, some of you in the chat are probably thinking, what about the SEC? What about the stock markets? Well, Ham talked about that the other day. That he's got it on good authority that Trump's waiting for Paul Atkins to get in to use the SEC to enforce the cleanup of the markets and not do it himself for various reasons. So that hearing is in 2 days, but Trump is doing everything else. and he's doing as much as he possibly can unilaterally, not waiting on Congress. And you know what this is going to do? This is going to force Congress to step up. And if they do not pass voting reform before the midterms, this at least ensures that we have a much better chance of adding in the midterms and getting MAGA people in, which will put even more pressure on Congress to get stuff done, to seal his agenda into law, legislate it before 2028. So just absolutely massive there. All right. Got a couple other things I want to touch on, and then I want to go through your guys' chats, because I haven't forgotten about you, but I'm moving fast tonight. I'm going to keep up with the momentum. All right. Have you guys been paying attention to this whole Signal thing going on, where the Democrats are trying to use it to tear down Trump's team for using Signal, which the Biden administration, of all people, imagine that, made it legal for them to have those chats on Signal, put it on the government phones. So they actually didn't do anything wrong, so long as they didn't talk about anything classified, which they swear they did not. But here's some more proof of that. Now, I don't know if you guys watch the Bulwark.
Terry,
It's
I said
now because it is a bunch of lefties always always just griping about Trump. I like to listen to it every once in a while because it is hilarious how just Looney Tunes these people are. But Tim Miller is one of the worst. This guy on the left, he is a former Republican strategist. Imagine that. Worked with Jeb Bush, and now he's one of the biggest hardcore anti-Trump people out there. And when you hear him talk, there's no distinguishing between him and a hardcore liberal. It really, really shows how disgusting our uniparty was. Because for this guy, Tim Miller, to call himself a Republican at one point is just an absolute insanity. Because how on earth could you join the liberal party, the Democratic Party, with what it's become now, if you ever called yourself a Republican? The only way is if you were never really a Republican, you were a rhino, but worse than that, you were part of the uniparty deep state. But anyways, he's now interviewing Jeffrey Goldberg, editor of The Atlantic, who got this big Signal scoop. And watch what happens when Tim Miller tries to get Jeffrey Goldberg to prove there was, as he claims, classified data on here.
Now, the Secretary of Defense and the White House press secretary have said you're lying. Have said there are no war plans there. Have said there's no classified information. So the obvious question is, shouldn't you now demonstrate it? Shouldn't you publish the text?
No, because they're wrong. They're wrong.
But how can you prove that you're wrong? Maybe should you provide them to the House and Senate special committees on intelligence? Maybe. I don't know.
Wow. Well, you want to become my lawyer?
Oh, that's interesting. Tim, that's actually a great suggestion. Well, if you got classified stuff, you can't release it publicly. Can you just send it to that? As soon as he mentions it, he just freezes. I wonder why. Maybe because he doesn't have it.
I'm throwing this out there, Jeff. I don't know. I mean, look.
I feel like no. I mean, I obviously. Let me just put it this way.
You see how he's stuttering and just can't give an answer at all. I mean, if you want to believe like this guy's telling the truth, this is not how you do it. He's not even a good liar.
Colleagues and I, and the advice that and the people who are giving us advice on this have some interesting conversations to have.
And that is a word salad answer he probably learned from Kamala Harris. That is how you know this entire story is nonsense. And that little interaction right there, you telling me this guy isn't prepared for those kind of questions? If he's really got the scoop of the year, the scoop of the century to defeat Trump and really expose and maybe get rid of some of his cabinet, are you kidding me? It's insane. These people to believe this stuff. Anybody who still follows this stuff is crazy. I just, how do you believe anything coming out of their mouths? I I don't understand. All right, real quick. I'm gonna go real quick through the next couple, and then I'm gonna get to the chat because I want to chat with you guys. I've seen some good stuff I want to address and catch up with. All right, so peace imminent. We got Trump administration facilitating talks with Ukraine and Russia to get Black Sea stability, and so one more step towards peace. I think we'll have this done probably early April is my guess, which is awesome. A huge news: Jay Bhattacharya was censored for advocating focused protection of the vulnerable instead of lockdown school closures. He just got confirmed as NIH director. This is massive. He's going to go right next to RFK. Just, it's amazing. Got censored off Twitter for speaking out against COVID. He's maha as you can get. Make America healthy again. And another just great person, and head of the NIH means he is officially taken over for Fauci, and that is huge. And I believe this could be a lifetime appointment. I'm not sure about that, but we'll have to look. And then finally, we're going to go to Harry Anton, who's got some great news for Trump. Despite all the stuff that the liberals are throwing at him, Trump has some polls that Harry wants to share with us that are just making CNN not too happy.
Sometimes it's important to do a little bit of reality check and take a little different spin at the numbers. I'm going to do that right here because all we talk about is how unpopular Donald Trump is. But in reality, he's basically more popular than he was at any point in term number one, and more popular than he was when he won election back in November.
Hold on. More popular than his entire first term, and more popular than when he was elected president in November. That has got to stick in their craw a little bit.
2024. What are we talking about? His net favorable rating right now comes in at -4 points. Compare that to where he was when he won in November of 2024, when he was at -7 points, or March of 2017, when he was at -10 points. So when you compare Trump against himself, he's actually closer to the apex than he is to the bottom of the trough. And of course, that's so important because Donald Trump, historically speaking, has had his numbers underestimated. So I think it's very important to compare him to himself to understand he's actually more popular now than he was when he won, or certainly where he was at this point back in his first term. The bottom line is Trump is more towards the ceiling than he is towards the floor.
Oh, Harry, just get that exercise in. You see how mad she is right there? She can't handle it. It's making her sick right there. But anyways, all right. So that's great. I mean, the people are behind him. He's gaining in popularity because America's so ready to have stuff get done, and we're winning. We're winning so hard right now, guys. Good stuff's coming. We're just going to see more and more and more breakthrough as Trump continues to move along, and the Justice Department and the FBI really get ramped up. All right. Sorry, guys. I ranted for the first 40 minutes. I think that might be my record. I felt like I just need to get through it all tonight. And then I want to catch up with you guys. So let me go through the chat, make sure I catch some of these, the comments I wanted to speak to. Let's see here. By the way, if you like what you're watching and you want more of this, please like, subscribe, share. I appreciate it. I really do. My channel, YouTube doesn't like me. I'll just be honest. They don't like me. So, but Rumble is starting to like me a little bit more. You guys can join on Rumble if you want. I'm going to be giving more and more attention to Rumble over the next few months, and then maybe eventually fully phase over. I'm still debating whether or not I'm going to do that. It depends on how nice YouTube is to me in the next few weeks, but they haven't been great to me. But if you guys want to support the channel, please like and subscribe. I appreciate it. And if you really like more, Members Lives are where it's at. Every Wednesday night, you can get in with a $3 membership, which also gets you into the 24/7 Discord. So if you want to support the channel, that is a great way to do it while also getting stuff on your own. And then, of course, always super chats, whatever you guys want to do. If you want to buy me a coffee, I'll take it. Okay, let me catch up in the chat here. I did see some good stuff, but I got to go back a little bit. So, All right. Mark R writes, Canada froze all rebate payments for Tesla and banned the electric vehicle maker from future rebate programs. Oh, that sucks. The imagine like what Elon has given up in order to just stand up for what he believes in. It's crazy what's happening with Tesla right now. It's insane. Candace writes that Bieber was with Usher before Diddy. Really? I didn't know that. Usher was definitely abused by Diddy as well. So that's pretty awful stuff. I really, the Diddy stuff I think has been put on the back burner because right now it's the Epstein, what everybody wants. But listen, Epstein died in 2019, killed himself 2019. So 6 years ago now. And then Ghislaine Maxwell, she's still been caught 2 years ago, and her stuff, I believe it's actually starting to come back up in April. Some of her court stuff. So that's at the tip of the spear right now because it's starting to happen, right? Well, Diddy just got caught last November or last October. So it's going to be a little slower roll with him. But I have a feeling that as everything starts coming out with Epstein and we start getting more of this released with the files and then the court cases with Ghislaine, I think we're going to start seeing a lot more stuff come out about Diddy as well. But they're probably going to hold a lot of it for the court cases. But when that breaks, that's going to be insane because that's going to be famous people. It's one thing. Political people, you guys know a lot of them. I know a lot of them because we follow politics really closely, and that's fine. But we're not normal compared to a lot of Americans. Most Americans don't pay attention, but you know what they do know? They know that music they listen to on Spotify and who they grew up to listening to. If you're like me and grew up in the 90s on the radio, on MTV, you know those names. You know who's in the movies. That's who even the quote unquote normies know. So Diddy's case is really going to shake a lot of America. Twilight, I did not know that Trump was talking tonight on Newsmax, so I'm sorry about that if I'm missing a big speech. I will have to go back and look and maybe cover it tomorrow night's Members Live if he says anything crazy. Johnny says, so crazy how the left manipulates words. Planned Parenthood. I know. Well, it's Planned Parenthood because you can plan to not be a parent by killing your baby. So there's that. That's one way they do it, which is insane. Automax says, wasn't notified of the channel last night and today. YouTube's messing around and they like to do that. So again, guys, double check if you're subscribed. Make sure make sure notifications are turned on, even though YouTube does not do a good job of that. And then, hey, if you like watching on YouTube, but you still would just want to trust a better notification system, follow my channel on Rumble. Rumble notifies me on everything. I never miss a notification on Rumble. So you could use that to know I'm going live on YouTube. So you don't even have to watch it on Rumble if you don't want to, but you can at least follow, set the notifications, and when they ping on, you can jump on YouTube and watch from there because you'll know I'm on since I go live at the same time. Alan says he heard the U.S. Postal Service sending funds to NPR, USPS losing how many billions? I did not know that. So their U.S. Postal Service, how are they even pulling that off? I didn't hear that story, Alan. That's pretty crazy. I will have to see if anything comes up with that. That's crazy. That's absolutely crazy. Let's see here. Prison guards on strike. I don't know anything about that. There's just so much going on, isn't there? Brett says California counts ballots up to a month and a half after the election. It's ridiculous. California is the worst. How do you think we got so many House seats lost, even though Trump won a lot of those districts? Think about it. They knew that Trump won so convincingly, they couldn't catch that. but some of those House seats were barely ahead, so they could catch up there. And that's how they do it, guys. That's how they do it. New head of NIH has to fire Fauci's wife. Is she still working there? Do you guys know that Fauci was the highest paid employee in the federal government, even higher paid than Trump, the president? That's pretty insane. That's pretty insane. Big JR says like, subscribe, and or donate a gold bar. I mean, I'd take it. You'd be crazy to give one up right now with gold prices what they are. But if you have a few lying around, I'll take it. I will. Trump interview was awesome. Good. I'll have to see it. He's pissed about Ashley Babbitt. I'll be listening to it probably after I get off here then. T. Alex says there might be 30% of Canadians that pay attention in politics. I mean, one of the craziest things I saw was that on election day in November 5th here, they on our election day, one of the main searches on Google was, did Joe Biden resign? In other words, on election day, there were several Americans who came to the polls who were surprised that Biden wasn't on the ballot. So there you go. Even Americans, there's several of them that do not pay attention. It's insane. What's up, Joel Dawes? It's been a long time, buddy. It's good to see you, man. Hope you're doing well. And you should stop in more often. You know, we're still friendly in here. This is the best community on YouTube. I'm telling you, it is. And I do my best to actually spend time with you guys too. Postal Service was on Gutfeld tonight, says Alan. Okay, well, I got stuff to watch and listen to then. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. All right, guys. Well, listen, things are good. Things are good. We are moving fast. We're getting so much done. This Voting Act thing today, honestly, was one of the things I wanted to see happen most. And the House passed the SAVE Act last fall, which would fix the voting. There's almost no way it'll pass the Senate with the filibuster. But that's the next crazy thing, question eventually that's going to come up is it time to finally eliminate the filibuster? I think so. And one of the reasons I think so is because it's actually unconstitutional. It's a Senate rule. It's not in the Constitution. The filibuster was created in the Senate by some deal they made, I don't know, 70, 80 years ago to give the minority party more power. But what it did is it really slowed down Congress and really stopped Congress from being effective. And because of the filibuster, we now, when we get mandates like right now with Trump, we got very few things that get passed into law. And that's kind of purposeful, but it's wrong. And the ultimate, the president has veto power. So if the Senate passes something that goes against what the president would want, then he can veto it. And then they have to do 2/3 against him. But it always was meant to be, the Congress was always meant to be democratic. It was always meant to be the House could pass something by a single vote. The Senate could pass something by a single vote. And then it goes by the president gets signed. And then even after all that, the judiciary, the Supreme Court is there and can strike down the law if they rule it unconstitutional. That is the checks and balances. We're not supposed to have the checks and balances in the Senate. They're not supposed to have their own checks and balances. That's insane. And I used to be a fan of the filibuster. And yes, it has slowed things down even under Democrats. And I'm thankful for that. But let's be honest. If we had no filibuster in the first Trump term, we would have gotten more laws passed. And then, you know what? They could have overturned them under Biden. What would have really changed? The Senate could effectively change laws faster under Trump now. So it just slows everything down so much. It makes it so the only laws that get passed are really big laws that actually have bipartisan. And you know what? I don't care about being bipartisan anymore. I really don't. We won. We should get to remake this country in our image. And if we suck at it and we fall apart, the Democrats will have their chance again because nobody will like what we're doing. But I just don't see how that is. So I think Senate, it's time to get rid of the filibuster. I really do. The filibuster is, it's just no bueno. It's no bueno. And right now, if we had no filibuster, the Senate could be rocking out, like working on these executive orders. It could be getting the Voting Rights Act passed. It could be getting the budget passed so much faster. Everything would be so much better. It really would be. Marco says we need to get lobbyists out of politics. I think there should be rules around lobbyists, but I don't know if you could ever get lobbyists fully out of power. I think you have to just limit what they can do, because the word lobbyist just means you're lobbying. You're trying to convince a senator or anybody to do what you want to do. So I don't think you can fully ban lobbyists. I don't think constitutionally you could get away with that. We're a free society. We're supposed to be able to use our press, our money, our whatever to try to make things happen, but you put limits on it. And that could do it. Is Trump going to ban short selling? We can hope so. Randy Albert, Alberta loves Trump. I love it. Canada, baby. Maybe someday you guys could be our new state. And I think we need to section you guys off so you're not all completely run by liberals. You want to just be another California. We don't want that. Here at large says Fauci's wife, Christine Grady, is still the NIH chief of the Department of Bioethics. Ew. Bioethics? Are you serious? They got a Fauci in charge of that? That's gross. That's absolutely gross. Okay, before we go tonight, I just want to do a quick check-in on the markets and where we're at with our stuff here. So it was a good day. It was overall a good day. So starting with DJT, we had DJT up almost 10%. So 9%. It was up 12%, I think, at the top. A lot of strength back, but the momentum definitely stalled in after hours. So it got a bunch of momentum from that deal announced with crypto.com, and now it's stalled again. So the good news is that if you still believe in DJT like I do, it didn't go so fast, and I don't think it's going to keep going so fast that we can't still get in and accumulate a bit more. So that's exciting there. Finger had another good day, finishing green. All of a sudden my internet just crapping out for some reason. It is interesting in after hours, these stocks finish red, but up almost another 5%. It's just that slow crawl, volume's nothing crazy. Again, this is a great price. I think Finger, to me, the last few weeks has shown significant strength at the bottom. And I just think it's going to keep creeping up until something breaks. That's where I think we're at right now based on where this momentum has been. And again, you get people like BAM and Pedro being excited about it. That speaks volumes to me. And then the big one today, G-Bucks just had another great day. At one point, it was up to 640, I think. So really good. But the big deal on G-Bucks is that it closed a 3-day green candle, which Pedro's always telling us that when you close a 3-day green candle, that means that it resets the algorithm. So based on that, and look at the volume, it was nothing. 34,000 shares traded and it went up 16%. That's awesome. That should be extremely bullish. That means no selling basically at all. But by closing this 3-day candle green, it means that with the algorithm reset, it means we should have a good day tomorrow. And again, I've been hearing that there might be some big news coming out for G-Bucks soon. So tomorrow could be a really good day for G-Bucks. And all these are just, they're coming together. If you want more information on the economy, where I think it's headed, just watch last night's video. I really covered it in depth last night. But excuse you guys. But anyways, good stuff there. Texas Lone Star just wrote in, says, lawmakers will use the budget reconciliation process to overcome Senate filibuster, can be used to enact tax spending and debt limit changes. Oh, I know. Lone Star, you're absolutely right. But they only get to use that once a year, as far as I know. And it always has to be budget oriented. So yeah, they can get that done. But when I said the budget, I meant like what they just did with the continuing resolution. That could have been filibustered. That's why Schumer capitulating was a big deal. They can do this on the debt ceiling. They can filibuster that. So there's lots of things they can still filibuster regarding the budget. And every other law, like social law, they can filibuster. It's insane. It's outdated, and it's time for it to go. The filibuster, the more you think about it, if you really break it down, you really study our Constitution, and you really think about administration, election, it really doesn't make any sense why it's there, except for it slows Congress down and it defangs Congress. Remember, Congress is Article 1 of the Constitution. Congress is actually meant to be the most powerful branch of the government. Why? Because it's the most representative of the people. But the executive, which is Article 2 of the Constitution, has become the most powerful. A lot of that started with FDR, but it also became a big deal because Congress neutered themselves with the filibuster, among other things. So it really doesn't line up with our Constitution to have the filibuster. It just doesn't. All right, guys. On that note, thank you guys again for just supporting. Please like and subscribe, share if you like this, and consider becoming a member. We have a lot of fun in the Discord. Everybody's got their charts going with the stocks. Everybody's talking the politics when the big stuff comes up. So, yeah, good stuff there. And I think it's well worth the $3 a month plus members live. So tomorrow, members live, members Wednesdays. So tomorrow we'll have something going on. My blood pressure is not up. No, I got a lot of sun this weekend because we went hiking. So yeah, I don't think it's blood pressure. But Toe Cramp says one of the benefits of listening on Rumble, video is a couple seconds ahead of YouTube. Yeah, that's true. Using Rumble Studio, they do prioritize Rumble. So a little less delay on Rumble. That's true. Yes, Congress handed their power over the executive branch. You're absolutely right. There's a lot of that happened too. And war powers and media manipulation that the president's able to do, all that stuff just happen over time. So, all right, guys, on that note, I'm going to pray and call it a night. So Heavenly Father, thank you for today. God bless this group here, Lord. I pray for our leadership. I just thank you, God, for all the justice starting to come to our country and in so many ways. But more than anything, I do pray, God, for all the innocent out there being taken advantage of, especially children. The horrible things we've allowed to happen on our watch, whether it's the Planned Parenthood stuff or whatever the elites are doing, the children trafficked across the border, whatever it is, God, it happened on our country. And a lot of it happened because for years and decades, we weren't paying attention. And so forgive us for that. This is not what we want. And so now we're fighting back, and I just pray that the exposure fully comes out and everything is dealt with. And as many can be saved, but also we institute a system in a way where this stuff can never happen again. And I pray that justice is brought to all those who hurt, abused, took advantage of any of these innocent ones, God. So I don't care how famous, how rich, how powerful, that they all come crashing down. So give our leadership wisdom and the fortitude to carry these things through and protect them as they carry it out. So thank you again for saving our country from the craziness that could have come if we hadn't gotten Trump's and his team in. So thank you for that, Lord. Bless this group and prosper this group in Jesus' name. Amen. All right. Love you guys. Oh my God. Alan with the 5 memberships. Thank you, Alan. And Toe Cramp is back in the membership as well. You guys are awesome. Thank you for the support. That's a nice little pick me up on the way out. Media Junkie, Wicked MS, Danny, you are all in the membership again. Frank Zara, welcome back. God bless you guys. Thank you for that, Alan. That's very generous of you. Toe Cramp, great to have you back as always, brother. And you guys are the best. So have a great night, guys. Members, I will see you all tomorrow night. And the rest of you, I will see you all Thursday. Take care and be blessed tonight. We are winning. Hallelujah. See you guys soon. Bye-bye.